The Craxian warship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a silver blade cutting through blue silk. Commander Vextar stood at the bridge, his four arms crossed behind his crystalline back, watching the planet below with what his species considered amusement. His mandibles clicked rhythmically as he observed the green patches scattered across the continents. Primitive vegetation clusters, Lieutenant Cormal reported from the science station. The humans call them jungles. Dense collections of carbon-based plant life. Nothing our thermal weapons cannot clear in minutes. Vextar's compound eyes glowed brighter. The humans dare resist the Craxian Empire with such primitive defenses? They hide in bushes like insects. The bridge crew chirped in shared mockery. Signal the fleet. We begin the harvest of this world at dawn. Start with these jungles. Show them how foolish it is to oppose us. The Craxian Empire had conquered 17 worlds in the past century. Each fell within days, their armies crushed beneath the weight of superior technology and ruthless efficiency. Earth would be no different. The initial bombardment had destroyed most major cities, yet pockets of resistance remained. Intelligence suggested human military units had retreated into these jungle regions. Pathetic, Vextar muttered. They think leaves and trees will protect them from plasma cannons. As the warship settled into low orbit, scanners detected heat signatures deep within the Amazon basin. Thousands of them, clustered in small groups. Vextar's feeding tubes extended in anticipation. Prepare drop pods. I want 3 legions deployed by sunrise. Full combat protocols. The Craxian legions were the Empire's finest. Each warrior stood 3 meters tall, covered in natural armor plating that could deflect small arms fire. Their plasma rifles could vaporize a human from 200 meters. Their combat suits provided enhanced vision across multiple spectrums and climate control for any environment. What could primitive humans hiding in vegetation possibly do against such might? Lieutenant Cormal hesitated at his console. Commander, atmospheric readings show unusual humidity levels in these regions. Temperature exceeds optimal combat parameters. Perhaps we should. Are you suggesting Craxian warriors cannot handle mere weather? Vextar's voice carried a dangerous edge. Deploy the legions. 300 drop pods launched from the warship's belly, streaking through the dawn sky like falling stars. Inside each pod, 10 Craxian warriors checked their weapons and prepared for another easy conquest. They had read the briefings. Humans were soft, weak creatures. Their planet's gravity was lighter than most Craxian worlds. This would be a simple extermination. The pods crashed through the jungle canopy, their impact creating perfect circles of destruction in the green sea below. Warriors emerged with practiced precision, weapons raised, scanners active. The jungle greeted them with a wall of heat and moisture that immediately fogged their helmet displays. Legion Commander Drexar stepped out of his pod and surveyed the environment. Massive trees stretched toward the sky, their canopy so thick it blocked most sunlight. Vines hung like organic cables. The air itself seemed alive, thick with moisture and the sounds of countless unseen creatures. His armor's climate control whined as it struggled against the oppressive humidity. Form up, Drexar commanded, thermal scanners to maximum. Find the humans and end this quickly. The 3 legions spread out in perfect formation, moving through the undergrowth with mechanical precision. Their heavy boots crushed plants and small animals alike. Nothing could hide from their advanced sensors. Nothing could escape their weapons. Or so they believed. Private First Class Maria Santos watched the aliens through her rifle scope from 200 meters away. She lay perfectly still in the mud, her ghillie suit making her indistinguishable from the jungle floor. Insects crawled across her face, but she didn't move. She'd been in position for 6 hours, waiting. Around her, hidden throughout the jungle, her unit waited as well. 42 members of the Brazilian Special Operations Brigade, each one born and trained in these jungles. They'd grown up learning every sound, every smell, every danger. The Amazon was their home, their fortress, their weapon. The aliens moved like machines, Santos observed. Predictable patterns, rigid formations, complete reliance on technology. They crashed through the undergrowth like elephants, announcing their presence to every living thing within a kilometer. Their armor might stop bullets, but the jungle had other ways to kill. She clicked her radio twice. The signal spread through the unit. Wait. Watch. Learn. The Craxians pressed deeper into the jungle. Their formation began to spread as the terrain became more difficult. Massive roots created natural barriers. Streams appeared without warning. The canopy grew thicker, blocking their aerial surveillance drones. The humidity continued to rise. "Commander," a warrior reported to Drexar. "Climate controls failing. Internal temperature rising beyond acceptable parameters." "Ignore it," Drexar snapped, though his own breathing had become labored. The moisture in the air made each breath feel like drowning. Condensation dripped constantly inside their helmets. Find the humans. They didn't notice the subtle changes at first. How certain paths seemed easier to follow than others. How the jungle sounds shifted and moved around them. How their communications began to fill with static. They were being herded, guided, manipulated by an enemy they couldn't see. Sergeant João Silva crouched in a tree 20 meters above the jungle floor, his dark skin blended with the shadows, his breathing synchronized with the wind through the leaves. He'd killed his first jaguar at age 12, tracked drug cartels through terrain that would kill most men. The aliens below him moved like children in his world. He studied their armor, noting the joints, the breathing apparatus, the cooling vents working overtime. Every piece of technology had weaknesses. Every armor had gaps. The jungle would find them all. A Craxian warrior paused directly below him, scanner sweeping the area. The alien's 4 arms moved independently, covering multiple angles. Impressive, but unnecessary. In the jungle, death came from the angle you never considered. Silva drew his knife. Not to attack. Not yet. He reached for the vine beside him. One of thousands that created the jungle's living architecture. This particular species, known locally as Mata Soldado, soldier killer, contained a sap that burned through most materials. Carefully, silently, he made a small cut. The sap dripped slowly, landing on the alien's shoulder armor with a soft hiss. The warrior looked up, confused, as the organic acid began eating through the metal. By the time he raised his weapon, Silva had already vanished into the canopy. "Contact!" the warrior shouted, firing blindly into the trees. Plasma bolts seared through leaves and branches, creating brief clearings that the jungle seemed to swallow instantly. Other Craxians converged on the position, weapons raised, finding only their companion pawing at his corroding armor. The attack had begun. Throughout the jungle, human special forces struck from the shadows. Not with bullets or explosives, but with the jungle itself. Vines that released clouds of spores when disturbed, causing the aliens' air filters to clog. Insects guided by ultrasonic devices, swarming into armor joints and breathing tubes. Pit traps covered with leaves, filled with water that conducted electricity from stolen Craxian power cells. The aliens' technology, so supreme in open warfare, became a liability. Their heavy armor trapped heat, cooking them alive in the humid air. Their scanners, designed for clear environments, couldn't differentiate between the thousands of heat signatures from insects, birds, and mammals. Their communications equipment, overwhelmed by the electromagnetic interference from millions of living organisms, reduced them to shouting distance. Private Santos squeezed her trigger. The bullet, coated with a special polymer developed from tree frog poison, found the gap between helmet and chestplate. The warrior stumbled, his nervous system shutting down in seconds. She was already moving to her next position before the body hit the ground. The Craxians tried to regroup, to form defensive positions. But the jungle offered no clear ground. Every direction looked the same. Their GPS systems showed locations that didn't match reality. Paths they had marked vanished behind walls of growth. Warriors sent to scout never returned. Panic began to spread through the ranks. These weren't soldiers fighting soldiers. This was the planet itself rejecting them. The heat grew unbearable. Moisture corroded their equipment. Unseen enemies struck and vanished like ghosts. Their proud formation dissolved into scattered groups, each fighting for survival against an enemy they couldn't understand. Commander Drexar tried to maintain control. Fall back to the landing zone. Defensive perimeter. But the landing zone was gone. The jungle had swallowed their pods, vines and growth covering them in hours instead of years. The cleared areas had vanished beneath a green tide. He watched his warriors fall one by one, some to bullets from unseen snipers, others to the environment itself. Heat exhaustion, equipment failure, toxic plants, venomous creatures guided by human handlers. The jungle was alive, and it was hostile, and the humans were its masters. Through the chaos, he glimpsed them sometimes. Shadows moving between trees, faces painted with mud and plant dyes, eyes that watched with patient, predatory calm. They didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like the jungle itself, using every resource, every advantage their world provided. A figure emerged from the undergrowth ahead, human, female, carrying a primitive projectile weapon. She stood calmly as Drexar raised his plasma rifle. His targeting system couldn't lock on. Something in her clothing scattered the sensors. He fired manually, the plasma bolt searing past her ear. She didn't flinch. "Your empire made two mistakes," she said in accented Craxian. "First, you thought technology alone makes warriors. Second, you attacked our home." Drexar tried to fire again, but his weapon wouldn't respond. Moisture had finally penetrated the power cell. He reached for his blade, but his arms moved slowly, heavily. The heat exhaustion had progressed too far. The jungle has fought invaders for millions of years. The human continued. "We just learned to fight alongside it." She raised her weapon. Drexar's last thought was confusion. How had these primitive beings defeated the mighty Craxian Empire? The answer surrounded him, grew from every surface, lived in every shadow. They hadn't defeated the Empire. Their world had. By sunset, the jungle was quiet again. 300 of the Empire's finest warriors had entered. None emerged. The plants grew over their bodies, breaking down armor and flesh alike to feed new growth. Their advanced weapons became nests for insects. Their drop pods became gardens. In orbit, Commander Vextar watched the feeds in disbelief. Entire legions vanished. His sensors showed nothing but jungle, as if his warriors had never existed. The heat signatures they detected were gone, hidden by some means his technology couldn't penetrate. "Prepare a full bombardment," he ordered. "Burn it all." "Commander," Lieutenant Cormal interrupted. "Energy readings from the surface. The humans, they're broadcasting." On the main screen, a human face appeared. Dark-skinned, scarred, eyes that held no fear. Behind him, the jungle stretched endlessly. "Craxian Commander," the human said. "I am Colonel Marcus Rodriguez, Earth Special Operations Command. You sent 300 warriors into our jungle. The jungle kept them. Send 3,000, the result will be the same. Send 30,000. And we will teach your empire why Earth's jungles have survived since before your species drew breath." He gestured to the green expanse behind him. "You see wilderness. We see a weapons system evolved over millions of years. Every plant, every insect, every microorganism is part of our arsenal. Your technology means nothing here. Your armor is a tomb. Your weapons are toys against a force that conquered a planet long before we arrived." The transmission showed brief images: Craxian warriors overwhelmed by army ants, suffocated by spore clouds, dragged into rivers by creatures that had no name in the Empire's databases. Technology failing, proud soldiers reduced to panicked animals, the jungle consuming all. "You scoffed at our jungles," Rodriguez continued. "Called them primitive. But primitive doesn't mean weak. It means tested by time, proven by survival. You come from sterile ships and dead worlds. We come from this." He spread his arms wide. "Leave now. Tell your empire that Earth's jungles are death to those who threaten our world. Or stay, and fertilize our forests with your dead." The transmission ended. Vextar stared at the green expanses below. Other continents had similar areas: jungles, forests, swamps. Environments his warriors were never designed to fight in. Places where human special forces waited, patient as predators, ready to turn their planet's primal power against any invader. For the first time in the Empire's history, retreat seemed the wisest option. Not from superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but from the marriage of human cunning and nature's brutality. The jungle had spoken, and its message was clear. Earth would not fall easily. Perhaps it would not fall at all. The warship turned away from the planet, leaving the jungles to their shadows and secrets. In the green depths below, the special operations teams melted back into the wilderness, ready for the next assault. They knew the aliens would return. The Empire's pride demanded it. But the jungle was patient. It had waited millions of years. It could wait a little longer. And when the invaders came again, Earth's warriors would be ready, hidden in the green embrace of humanity's oldest ally. The first battle was over. The war for Earth had just begun. 3 weeks passed before the Craxian Empire returned. This time, they came prepared, or so they believed. Admiral Zexhos studied the tactical reports from the failed ground assault with the cold precision of a career military strategist. Unlike Commander Vextar's arrogance, Zexhos respected capable enemies. The humans had used their environment as a weapon. The solution was simple: remove the environment. Deploy the defoliant drones, he commanded from the bridge of his flagship. Begin with the sector where we lost the 3 legions. Leave nothing alive. Thousands of drones descended toward the Amazon, spraying clouds of engineered chemicals designed to destroy carbon-based plant life. The Empire had used this tactic on other worlds, turning forests into deserts, removing cover for insurgent forces. Within hours, leaves began to wither. Within days, entire sections of jungle would be dead. Below, Captain Sarah Chen of the Canadian Special Forces watched through binoculars as the jungle began to die. She'd arrived 2 weeks ago with her unit, part of the international response to the alien threat. Jungle warfare experts from every nation had gathered, sharing knowledge, preparing for exactly this scenario. "They're killing our advantage," her sergeant muttered. Chen smiled grimly. "No, they're creating a new one." She activated her radio. "All units, initiate Operation Anaconda." The humans had anticipated this strategy. In 3 weeks, special operations teams hadn't just waited, they'd prepared. Throughout the dying jungle, hidden caches opened. New equipment emerged. Not high technology to match the aliens, but innovations born from human adaptability. As the defoliants spread, something unexpected happened. The dying plants released clouds of pollen and spores, a final desperate attempt at reproduction. But these weren't natural releases. Human biochemists had spent weeks modifying native species, enhancing their defensive mechanisms. The clouds mixed with the alien chemicals, creating new compounds that drifted upward. The drones began to malfunction. Their sensors, calibrated for Earth's normal atmosphere, couldn't process the complex chemical soup. They crashed into each other, spiraled out of control, their spraying systems clogged with organic matter. What should have been systematic destruction became chaotic contamination. Admiral Zexhos watched the tactical display in confusion. "Why are the drones failing?" "Unknown atmospheric interference," a technician reported. "The chemical interaction is creating compounds our systems can't analyze. Drone losses at 30% and climbing. Deploy the filter ships. Clear the air and continue the operation." Massive atmospheric processors descended, their powerful intake systems designed to scrub chemical weapons from battlefields. They began drawing in the contaminated air filters, working to separate and neutralize the compounds. For a moment, it seemed to work. Master Corporal Jake Thompson, Australian SASR, grinned from his concealed position. The aliens had taken the bait. He pressed a detonator. Throughout the jungle, hidden charges detonated. Not explosives, but pressure vessels filled with concentrated plant oils and fungal spores. The blast sent clouds of material directly into the intake systems of the filter ships. The spores, evolved in the jungle's competitive environment, found the warm, moist environment of the filters perfect for growth. Within minutes, fungal masses began expanding inside the machinery. The filters clogged, systems overheated. The proud alien technology choked on Earth's most primitive life forms. One by one, the filter ships began emergency ascents, trailing smoke and biological matter. But the Empire wasn't finished. If they couldn't remove the jungle safely, they would burn it. Plasma bombardment ships moved into position, their weapons capable of turning entire grid squares into glass. Admiral Zexhos had lost patience with subtle solutions. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Yixara spoke carefully, "orbital bombardment will destroy the jungle, but our intelligence suggests human military assets are dispersed globally. Other wilderness areas show similar defensive preparations. We would need to glass approximately 18% of the planet's surface. Acceptable losses for the humans," Zexhos replied. "The electromagnetic disruption from that scale of bombardment would affect our own operations. Additionally," she hesitated, "the humans have been broadcasting on multiple frequencies. They're showing our dead warriors to their entire population, turning them into martyrs. Each attack strengthens their resistance." Zexhos considered this. The Empire ruled through fear, but also through calculated efficiency. Destroying large portions of a planet they intended to harvest was wasteful. Dead worlds produced no resources, no slave labor, no tribute. "Very well, we adapt. Deploy the Scourge units." Across the fleet, warriors shuddered. Scourge units were the Empire's last resort for problematic worlds. Genetically modified Craxian berserkers, pumped full of combat drugs, equipped with self-cooling armor and biological air filters. They felt no pain, needed no rest, and cared nothing for survival. Only victory. 500 Scourge warriors dropped into the jungle at night. Unlike the previous force, they didn't maintain formations. They spread out, moving fast, killing everything in their path. Their modified physiology handled the heat. Their sealed systems ignored the spores. Their drug-fueled aggression turned the jungle's psychological pressure into fuel for violence. Lieutenant Miguel Reyes, Mexican Special Forces, watched one of the berserkers tear through a defensive position. 3 of his men dead in seconds, the alien shrugging off bullets that should have found weak points. The thing moved like nothing in the tactical manuals. Pure offense, no defense, no self-preservation. "Fall back," he ordered. "Pattern Delta." The humans had learned too. 3 weeks of captured alien technology had taught them about Craxian physiology. They knew about the redundant nervous systems, the distributed organs, the remarkable healing ability. They also knew that every biological system had limits. As the Scourge warrior pursued, it passed through what looked like normal jungle mist. The moisture contained something extra. Concentrated capsaicin extracted from the hottest peppers on Earth, mixed with synthetic compounds that enhanced absorption through respiratory tissues. The berserkers' enhanced metabolism, running at maximum capacity, absorbed the chemical faster than normal warriors would. The effect was immediate. The warrior's breathing tubes began to spasm. Its eyes, designed for multiple spectrums, became overwhelmed as blood vessels dilated. The combat drugs that suppressed pain couldn't suppress the body's autonomous responses to what it perceived as severe chemical attack. The berserker stumbled, clawing at its helmet. By the time it managed to tear the breathing apparatus free, 3 precision shots from Reyes found the exposed neck joints. The warrior fell, its enhanced body finally discovering a limit. But there were hundreds more, and they learned quickly. They began moving in unpredictable patterns, using the dying parts of the jungle as cover, turning the humans' own tactics against them. The special forces found themselves in a new kind of fight, not the patient ambush warfare they excelled at, but brutal close-quarters combat against enemies that felt no fear. Staff Sergeant Lisa Park, Korean Special Forces, led her squad through the carnage. They'd lost contact with 2 other units, overwhelmed by the Scourge warriors' relentless assault. Traditional jungle warfare wasn't working against enemies that didn't care about casualties. "New plan," she said over the radio. "If they want to go berserk, let's give them something to chase." Across the battlefield, human units began coordinated withdrawals. Not retreats, but calculated movements designed to draw the Scourge warriors into specific areas. The Berserkers, programmed for aggression, followed eagerly. They didn't notice the patterns, didn't see the trap forming. The humans led them to the rivers. The Amazon River system was more than water. It was a living ecosystem, home to creatures that had inspired legends: electric eels, piranhas, caimans, parasites that could enter any orifice, fish that swam up urine streams. The water itself carried bacteria and microorganisms that could kill within hours. But the special forces had added something extra. For weeks, they'd been introducing genetically modified organisms into select river sections. Bacteria that produced toxins specifically designed to break down Craxian biological matter. Algae that released paralytic compounds when disturbed. They'd turned sections of the river into biological weapon soup. The Scourge warriors charged into the water without hesitation, pursuing fleeing humans. Their armor protected them from the obvious threats. The caimans that attacked found no purchase on alien metal. The piranhas broke teeth on hardened skin. For a moment, it seemed the berserkers would simply wade through another human trap. Then the microscopic war began. Water entered through seal breaches caused by combat. The modified bacteria found alien flesh and began to feast. The algae toxins, absorbed through any exposed tissue, attacked nervous systems already pushed to their limits by combat drugs. Warriors who felt no pain suddenly found their bodies simply stopping, muscles refusing to respond, organs shutting down. Sergeant David Mackenzie, British SAS, watched from the far bank as Scourge warriors thrashed in the water. Some made it halfway across before collapsing. Others sank immediately, their heavy armor becoming anchors. A few of the strongest reached the shallows, only to find human special forces waiting with flamethrowers, crude weapons, but effective against enemies whose cooling systems had been compromised by bacterial infection. The river ran purple with alien blood. In the water, Earth's smallest defenders continued their work, breaking down foreign proteins, treating the invaders like any other contamination to be processed and absorbed. The jungle might be dying in places, but the river remained hungry. Admiral Zexhos received the reports in cold silence. The Scourge units, their most savage warriors, reduced to floating corpses by invisible enemies. Every strategy met with adapted counter-strategy. Every advantage negated by human cunning married to natural hostility. Analysis, he demanded. Lieutenant Commander Yix Ara pulled up the data. The humans aren't just using their jungles as defensive positions. They've weaponized the entire ecosystem. Every element works together: land, water, air, microscopic life. Our forces are fighting the planet itself. Planets can be conquered, yes sir, but at what cost? Current projections show we would need to deploy 40% of the Empire's military resources to secure just the jungle regions. The humans have similar defensive preparations in their Arctic regions. Deserts, mountains, ocean territories. Each environment presents unique challenges our forces aren't equipped to handle. She brought up more data. Furthermore, human military doctrine is adapting rapidly. They're sharing information globally, learning from each engagement. What works in one jungle is communicated to all jungles. They're turning our technological superiority into a liability, using our predictable responses against us. Zexhos studied the tactical displays. Red markers showed Craxian losses. Green showed human positions, not fixed bases but fluid, mobile forces that appeared and vanished like morning mist. The Empire had never faced an enemy like this. Not a military to be crushed, but an entire species working with their planet as a single organism. Sir, a communication officer interrupted. Incoming transmission from the planet. The screen activated, showing a collection of human faces. Different skin colors, different uniforms, but all sharing the same hard expression. One stepped forward, the same colonel from before. Admiral Zexhos, Rodriguez said. You've now lost 800 warriors, 12 atmospheric processors, 4,000 drones, and counting. We've lost 32 soldiers. Each one hurts us. Each one makes us stronger. Your empire conquers through fear and superior firepower. We survive through adaptation and unity. Behind him, the dying jungle was visible. But also visible were new growth. Green shoots pushing through poisoned soil. Life returning already. Adapted to the new conditions. You can burn our jungles, Rodriguez continued. We'll fight you in the ashes. You can poison our rivers. We'll make the poison ours. You can send your best warriors. We'll send them back as fertilizer. This is our world. Every breath of air, every drop of water, every grain of soil is our ally. More faces appeared on screen. Soldiers from dozens of nations. You face not one military but hundreds. Not one environment but all of them. Not technology but evolution itself. Earth doesn't conquer invaders, it consumes them. The transmission ended. Admiral Zexhos sat back, considering. The Empire had the power to destroy Earth, certainly. But destroyed worlds paid no tribute. Dead species provided no labor. And the cost, the incredible cost of fighting an entire planet that treated warfare like an immune system response. Order all units to withdraw beyond lunar orbit, he commanded finally. We will reassess. Lieutenant Commander Yix Era couldn't hide her relief. Shall I prepare a report for the Imperial Council? Yes, include everything. The biological weapons, the adapted tactics, the unity of their response. The Council must understand that conquering Earth would require resources better spent elsewhere. As the Craxian fleet pulled back, the humans didn't celebrate. They knew this was only a respite. In the damaged jungles, Special Forces teams worked alongside scientists and locals, preparing new defenses, adapting new organisms, learning from each encounter. The jungle began to heal, incorporating alien chemicals into its biology, growing stronger from the assault. Colonel Rodriguez stood in a clearing where Craxian bodies were being processed, their technology studied, their biology analyzed. Each attack taught humanity more about their enemy. Each battle evolved their tactics. Will they come back? An aide asked. Rodriguez watched the stars where alien ships had vanished. Probably. But we'll be ready. We've shown them that Earth isn't just another conquest. We're an organism that fights back, adapts, overcomes. They thought our jungles made us weak. They're learning it makes us unstoppable. In the canopy above, birds began to return. Insects buzzed through the air. The river flowed on, carrying its microscopic defenders. The jungle lived, evolved, and waited. Earth's green heart beat on, patient and predatory, ready for whatever came next. The second battle was over. The war for Earth's soul had begun. The Craxian Imperial Council convened in the ancient Chamber of Conquest, where the banners of 17 fallen worlds hung as trophies. Emperor Thaxer himself presided, his massive form dominating the crystalline throne. Before him, Admiral Zexhos delivered his report on the Earth campaign. They fight like no enemy we have encountered, Zexhos concluded. They turn their planet's nature into weapons. They adapt faster than we can adjust tactics. Conquering Earth would require resources that could claim 3 conventional worlds. Murmurs rippled through the council. General Krextor, veteran of countless campaigns, stood. You speak of humans as if they were equals. They are primitives hiding in vegetation. I propose a final solution. Complete orbital bombardment, followed by ground occupation. Overwhelming force. The humans have shown, Zexhos began. The humans have shown cleverness, Krextor interrupted. Nothing more. Give me the entire Third Fleet and 50 legions. I will deliver Earth to the Empire within 1 cycle. Emperor Thaxer's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. General Krextor, you have never failed the Empire. Take your fleet. But know this. If you fail where others have failed, the Empire will reconsider Earth's value as a target. Krextor bowed. I will not fail, my Emperor. 6 months later, the largest Craxian invasion force ever assembled approached Earth. 50 warships, 200,000 warriors, and weapons that had broken civilizations. General Krextor had studied every previous encounter, analyzed every human tactic. He would not underestimate them. His strategy was simple but comprehensive. Simultaneous strikes on every continent, overwhelming orbital support, and new equipment designed specifically to counter Earth's biological defenses. Sealed armor with no external weak points. Weapons that required no air intake. Warriors trained in zero-visibility combat. The jungles would provide no advantage this time. On Earth, humanity watched the approaching fleet with grim determination. 6 months hadn't been wasted. The United Earth Special Operations Command had done more than prepare defenses. They'd prepared to take the fight beyond their world. Colonel Rodriguez stood in the command center, now built into a mountain stronghold. Around him, representatives from every nation's special forces coordinated the global response, but his attention focused on a smaller screen showing a modified cargo vessel in orbit. "Phoenix team ready?" he asked. Standing by came the response. Commander Chen led Phoenix, the first human special operations unit trained for void combat. 50 volunteers who'd spent 6 months learning to fight in environments humanity had never evolved for. They were about to attempt something unprecedented. "Remember," Rodriguez said, "once you're aboard, you're on your own. We can't support you up there." "Understood, sir. The jungle taught us well. Now we teach them that humans don't just defend. We hunt." The Craxian fleet entered Earth orbit in perfect formation. General Krextor commanded from his flagship, the inevitable Victory, confident in his overwhelming advantage. The first wave of dropships launched, heading for major jungle regions across every continent. This time, they would leave nothing to chance. What Krextor didn't notice was the small human vessel that had been drifting like debris. As his flagship passed, magnetic grapples silently attached to the hull. Phoenix team had arrived. Inside the cargo ship, Commander Chen checked her team's equipment one final time. They wore modified suits cobbled together from captured Craxian technology and human innovation. Instead of trying to match alien advantages, they'd created their own. "Remember, we're not soldiers up here," she said. "We're an infection. We spread, we adapt, we overcome. The jungle taught us that the smallest organisms can kill the largest predators. Time to prove it in space." The team moved through the breach they'd cut, entering the flagship's maintenance tunnels. The Craxians built their ships like their armor. Impressive and powerful, but predictable. Every Empire ship followed similar design principles. Phoenix team had studied captured schematics for months. They moved like shadows through the tunnels, leaving behind small packages at critical junctions. Not explosives, something far more insidious. Each package contained concentrated Earth bacteria modified to feed on the specific polymers used in Craxian ship construction. In the cold of space, they remained dormant. But inside the warm ship, on Earth's surface, the new invasion began. Drop pods rained down, disgorging warriors in fully sealed armor. General Krextor watched the tactical feeds with satisfaction as his forces established beachheads without immediate resistance. The humans were hiding again, but this time it wouldn't save them. Major Hassan, Egyptian Special Forces, observed the landing from 2 kilometers away. The aliens had learned from previous encounters. Their armor showed no weak points. Their formations maintained perfect overlapping fields of fire. They avoided water, checked every shadow, used drones to scout ahead. "They're fighting the last war," his lieutenant observed. Hassan smiled. "While we're fighting the next one. Signal all units, Operation Shapeshifter is go." Across the globe, Special Forces units initiated the new doctrine. Instead of defending static positions, they became pure mobility, hit and fade tactics taken to extremes. But with a twist the aliens hadn't expected. The Craxians found their first human defensive position, abandoned bunkers with clear signs of recent occupation. As they approached, scanning for traps, the positions exploded, but not with conventional explosives. The blasts released clouds of modified pheromones, synthetic copies of Craxian distress chemicals captured and analyzed from previous battles. Warriors throughout the area received chemical signals that their own forces were under attack from all directions. Their disciplined formations wavered as conflicting instincts fought training. In that moment of confusion, the real attacks began. Humans emerged not from the jungle, but from underground tunnels carved over 6 months. They struck with new weapons, not trying to penetrate armor, but to disorient. Sonic devices that vibrated at frequencies that disrupted Craxian echolocation. Strobe lights calibrated to overwhelm compound eyes. Chemical sprays that marked targets for tracking even through dense cover. The attacks lasted seconds before the humans vanished again underground. The Craxians fired at empty air, their advanced sensors tracking pheromone ghosts and sonic echoes. By the time they realized the deception, the humans were gone, already moving through tunnel networks to the next attack position. General Krextor watched his tactical display fill with conflicting data. Attacks registered from impossible locations. Units reported engaging enemies that didn't exist. The humans weren't just using camouflage, they were hacking the Craxians' own biology against them. Adapt, he roared. Ignore biological signals. Trust only visual confirmation. But on his flagship, Phoenix Team had reached their primary objective, the ship's life support system, a massive biomechanical construct that recycled air and water for the crew. Commander Chen studied the alien technology with professional appreciation. Beautiful system, she murmured. Completely self-contained. Perfect for long voyages. She produced a vial of murky liquid. Let's see how it handles Amazon River water. The sample contained concentrated microbial life from the most biologically diverse water system on Earth. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, algae, and things that defied easy classification, all selected for their ability to thrive in extreme conditions, all modified to see Craxian biological matter as food. She poured the vial into the system's intake. Within minutes, the microorganisms began to multiply in the nutrient-rich environment. The ship's own life support system became a breeding ground for Earth's microscopic invaders. Back on the surface, the battle evolved rapidly. The Craxians adapted to the pheromone attacks, switching to technological targeting only. So the humans adapted too. EMP weapons salvaged and modified from captured alien tech. Tunnels that collapsed after use, denying pursuit. Decoy positions that wasted ammunition while real attacks came from unexpected angles. Sergeant Yamamoto, Japanese Special Forces, led one of the most audacious operations. His team had spent months training local wildlife, not to attack, but to carry recording devices. Now, hundreds of birds, monkeys, and even insects moved through the battle zones, each broadcasting Craxian combat chatter recorded from previous engagements. The aliens found their communications jammed not by technology, but by their own voices repeated from 1,000 sources. Orders became meaningless. Coordination collapsed. Units fired on wildlife, wasting ammunition while human snipers picked off isolated warriors. The Craxians tried to counter by switching to visual signals. The humans responded by using holographic projectors to create false unit markers. The aliens brought in heavier armor. The humans introduced boreworms that had been feeding on metal-rich diets, now attracted to alien alloys. Every adaptation met counter-adaptation. Every advantage lasted minutes before being neutralized. The planet itself seemed to be learning, evolving defenses in real time. General Krextor realized he wasn't fighting an army, he was fighting a living system that grew stronger with each exchange. On the flagship, alarms began to sound. Life support systems showed biological contamination. The crew rushed to contain it, but the Earth microbes had already spread throughout the ship's circulatory systems. Air became thick with spores. Water turned brackish with bacterial growth. The ship's own immune systems, designed for known pathogens, couldn't recognize or fight the invasion. Phoenix Team moved to Phase 2. They'd mapped the ship's critical systems, leaving behind more than bacteria. Tiny transceivers, built from Earth materials invisible to Craxian sensors, now activated. Throughout the flagship, systems began receiving conflicting signals. Doors opened and closed randomly. Artificial gravity fluctuated. Navigation computers couldn't agree on their location. "Sir," a technician reported to Krextor. Multiple system failures across the flagship. It appears to be biological contamination. Impossible. This ship is sealed against. His words died as the main view screen flickered, showing a human face. Commander Chen smiled coldly. General, you sealed your ships against space. You didn't seal them against Earth. We're not just in your computers. We're in your air, your water, your food systems. Your ship is dying, and we're the infection killing it. Krextor roared orders, but his crew was already struggling. Warriors collapsed as Earth bacteria found ways through their internal systems. Technicians couldn't work terminals covered in aggressive molds. The mighty flagship, pride of the Empire, was being eaten alive from the inside. The situation planetside grew equally desperate. Human forces had abandoned traditional warfare entirely. They fought like viruses, like weather patterns, like the planet's immune system. Attacks came from below ground, from inside captured equipment, from the very air the Craxians struggled to breathe through failing filters. Colonel Rodriguez coordinated the global response with cold efficiency. Phase 3. All units. They wanted to fight Earth, show them what that means. Across the planet, hidden facilities opened. Not military bases, but biological warfare laboratories where scientists had worked alongside soldiers. The real weapon wasn't technology. It was evolution accelerated and directed. Clouds of modified insects rose from hidden breeding grounds. Rivers released engineered algae that targeted alien metals. Even the wind carried weapons now, as modified plant spores sought out Craxian biological signatures. The Empire's warriors found themselves fighting on every scale. Their massive ships battled contamination. Their ground forces faced everything from human commandos to microscopic attackers. Their equipment failed as Earth's smallest children invaded every system. The planet had become hostile at the molecular level. General Krextor made a final, desperate decision. All units, immediate evacuation, full retreat to orbit. But even that proved difficult. Dropships found their fuel contaminated, engines clogged with growths that shouldn't exist. Warriors racing for extraction points collapsed as their sealed suits finally failed, letting in air that had become poison to alien life. On the flagship, Phoenix team prepared for extraction. They'd completed their mission, but Chen had one final message to deliver. She activated the ship's emergency broadcast system, knowing every Craxian vessel would receive it. This is Commander Sarah Chen, Earth Special Operations. You came to our world expecting to fight soldiers. Instead, you fought the Earth itself. Every jungle, every ocean, every grain of soil is our weapon. We've shown you defense. Now we show you offense. She gestured to her team, all volunteers who knew this was likely a one-way mission. 50 humans have crippled your flagship. Imagine what millions can do. We can take this fight to your worlds, your stations, your empire. We are no longer just Earth's defenders. We are the hunters now. The transmission ended as Phoenix team's extraction charges detonated, their small ship breaking away from the dying flagship. Some would make it home. Others wouldn't. But their message was clear. Earth wouldn't just defend. When threatened, humanity would bring their planet's fury to the stars. General Krextor watched his tactical display in despair. Of 200,000 warriors, less than half had made it back to orbit. Many of those were contaminated, their suits breached, their bodies hosting Earth's microscopic invaders. His proud fleet was in chaos, fighting contamination that spread from ship to ship despite all precautions. Your orders, General, his aide asked weakly, already showing signs of infection. Krextor looked at Earth below. It seemed peaceful from orbit, blue and green and white. Beautiful, deadly, alive in ways the Empire had never imagined. Full retreat. Quarantine protocols for all vessels. We have failed. As the Craxian fleet limped away, humanity didn't celebrate victory. They prepared for what came next. In hidden facilities, scientists studied captured alien technology, learning to adapt it. Special forces trained in void combat, preparing to take the fight beyond Earth. The planet's defenders had become something more, a species that could turn any environment into a weapon. Rodriguez stood before the assembled leaders of Earth's United Military Command. They'll be back, or others will come. But we've shown the galaxy something important. Earth doesn't just defend. Earth conquers those who threaten it. We've learned to fight like our world fights, without mercy, without limits, adapting to any threat. He paused, looking at the mixture of faces, soldiers who'd become something beyond military, scientists who'd weaponized evolution itself, leaders who'd united a planet. We are no longer just humans. We are Earth's immune system. And we're ready to spread. The war for Earth was over. The war for humanity's place in the galaxy had just begun. In jungles and laboratories, in oceans and mountains, Earth prepared. Not just to defend, but to ensure no empire would ever threaten their world again. The hunters had become the hunted. And Earth's children had learned to hunt among the stars.